Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to Beamer's Crafty Corner. I am Beema, better known as Els, and I have a project for us today. It's this little guy right here, which I'm calling a wallet pocket. The closure on this is just a paper clip, whatever kind of paper clip you got. If you don't want to use a paper clip, you could certainly run ribbon or something behind it and tie it. Will work perfectly. Okay, so this is just a little piece, and the way I envision this is gluing it down to your page and then closing it, and then when you want to open it, it just opens like this, and then you have 3 pockets on the inside. And you could, of course, add another pocket here if you wanted to, but it gives you 3 pockets on the inside, and then you close it back up, and you just take your paper clip, and you close the whole thing. So that is my wallet pocket, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this one. I'm going to get out some supplies and things, and I'll be right back. All right, so for supplies, liquid adhesive, a cutting board that can handle a 12-inch piece of paper. If you don't have that, use a craft knife and your board with a metal ruler. An actual ruler may be helpful here because based on how you score, your measurements may not be perfectly aligned with mine. So some scoring tools, a scoreboard if you have it. If you don't, you can always use your trimmer, a pair of scissors, a paper clip to close this. And then, oh, let me get this. We're going to want some paper for decorating and a sheet of 12 by 12. Okay? So I'm going to get everything out of the way, and when I come back, we're going to start cutting the pieces. I am going to cut all of the pieces for this, both the base and the mats. We'll come back and do the cards for the inserts at the end. All right? I'll be right back. All right, so we're going to start by cutting our base, which is 12 inches by 5. Okay? 12 by 5. That did not seem straight. Let's try that again. Let's see. It's because it's not straight. Okay. 12 by 5. Let's put it in there. Make sure it's straight this time. There we go. All right. 12 by 5. And then we're going to cut some mats. These are going to be our background pieces. So these, which we are going to cut 2 of, because that's the part that gets glued down. So we need 2 of these, and then 3 of these. If you want to put paper back here, you certainly can, in which case just cut 5 of these. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so close that, put the paper clip back on there, get it out of the way. So we're going to start with the inside mats, and those are 3.5 inches wide by 1 3/4 inches tall. So let's see, 3.5. Oh, perfect. 1 3/4. One. Two. 3. Ooh, just enough. We'll keep that though. It's a good size scrap. Well, you know, for little things. All right, so we have 3 of those. Then we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches wide. So we're going to cut a strip that is 3 3/4 inches. And then we want this to be 2 3/4 inches tall. 1, 2, and 3. Well, we only need 2 of these. Why did I cut 3? I don't know. Just for extra. All right, now we're going to cut the inside cards later. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to get out the scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, then you're going to use the track on here. Go ahead and keep this out. But otherwise, I'm going to get out my scoring tools. I'll be right back. So we're going to start scoring with our paper on the 5 inch at the top. So we want the 12 going up and down. And we're going to score at 2 inches. Nice light scores here. Don't jab your paper. Why do we score? We score because scoring the paper keeps it from cracking when we fold it. Okay? Then we're going to turn the 12-inch up, and we are going to score this at 3 7/8. That is one mark before the 4. 3 7/8. And then over here at 8. Okay? That's all the scoring. Now we're going to be doing some burnishing. I'm going to move the scoreboard real quick. And we're going to burnish our scores. Now, on the side that you scored on, the side that was facing up, these are your valleys. And the other side where it pops out, that's your hill. So you're going to fold into the hills. Hills into valleys, valleys into hills, okay? So we're going to fold this over, make sure we've got it lined up top and bottom. And then we'll just burnish that. And then we're going to do the other side as well. Lining it up top and bottom. Why? Because sometimes the paper wiggles. And then we're going to do that big 2-inch one. Okay? Again, we're going to line it up on both sides. We're going to go ahead and burnish that. Now, folding in our side flaps, we're going to take a very small wedge from the bottom up to the top of that 2-inch piece. Okay? Same thing on the other side, just a very tiny little wedge. We're just basically cutting off the fold, okay? So that it looks like this. That's it. Now, we're going to ink all of this and all of these, and then we're going to come back and we're going to assemble the base. All right? I'll be right back. All right, so now everything is inked. We've inked the entire outside, all of our edges, all of our, and then in here, we've inked all of our folds, except these, because we're going to fold them over. So no sense, right? Okay. And now, if you are putting on backs, do that now. I'm not putting backs here because I'm going to put cards in, you know? So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here, right on the edge, and fold them up. Now, I have had people say, well, you know, you wedged that so that edge isn't straight anymore. I know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm giving you a 1/4 of an inch mat, okay? So it's not really going to matter. Now, we're going to take these and make sure they're going in the right direction. If your paper is directional, I could use either side of these, but I'm going to use the flowery side. Why? Because it shows up better. And we're just going to put these on our pockets. And then we're going to do our outside pieces. Now, if you're going to be decorating, you may want to use just the plain colored side. That is entirely up to you. Okay, then I'm going to flip this over, making sure that the pockets are still at the bottom. And I'm going to add a little extra ink here because I don't like the way that looks. It's not inked enough. Okay, there we go. Now, one here, one there. Boop. Ooh, I'm so glad we picked the other side of this paper. That's very busy. That is very, very busy. Oh, too busy. Give me a headache. Too busy. Go away. Now remember, one of these is slightly smaller than the other, so if you want to trim a little bit off of that one, you can. Same paper, and this is prettier. This must be the corner piece. This is hot off the press, and their corners are always really pretty. I'm going to do this the other way just so that it has contrast. Okay. So that is our base, and we're going to fold it in so that the short end is here, and then this one comes over, and it almost perfectly meets here. And a paper clip would go on here to hold the whole thing together. Okay? So now let's do those inside pieces. So I'm going to let this sit and dry, and then we're going to cut those inside pieces. I'm going to get out the trimmer. I'll be right back. All right. I have some leftover pieces from another project, and so I'm going to go ahead and use these. And what we're looking for is we need pieces that are 2 3/4 inches wide. So let's do that. 2 3/4 inches by 3 1/4. All right. 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. Now measure your pockets. These measurements may not be perfect for you, okay? Why am I trimming both sides? I'm trimming both sides because this is from another project and there might be residual score lines or something on it. And I don't want those to be in my project. So 3 1/4 there. Okay. Now, if you want to put paper on these, you can do that. I'm going to round my corners. Let me get the corner rounder out here. I'm going to round my corner. These could be tags. If you want to make them look like tags, you can certainly do that. But I'm going to round the corners here. And then normally I would just put these in, but I'm going to go ahead and do the matting just for the purpose of this video. So I'm going to get out some paper to mat this with, and I'll be right back. Okay, since my cards are 3 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, I went ahead and cut 3 mats that are 3 inches by 2 1/2, okay? And then we're just going to round the corners here. And then we'll ink these up and glue them down. Now, when I'm working with paper, what I like to do is I like to stack up my pieces if they're all the same size. Push the top one just tiny bit off and ink. That way I don't get that line that you sometimes get, but the paper isn't flopping around. And just move on to the next one. Because, you know, if you try to ink just a plain piece of paper, scrapbook paper typically, is very thin, you know? And so you end up getting that, like, sometimes you can tear it and you get so frustrated. This way, you see, I don't have any ink on this one. Ooh, that corner needs a little love. There we go. So I'm just going to line them up and then pull that top piece up just a little bit. Turn it, bring it out a little bit. That gives me the support underneath so that the paper isn't flopping around, but it keeps it from getting ink on the paper underneath. All right, so now that I have those, I'm going to go ahead and glue them all down, and when I come back, we'll put the whole thing together. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's our finished piece. Now, you could use this, if you have leftover of this, you could use this to make your card backs. It's entirely up to you, but for me, I have to show contrast. So it works best for me if I just use different colors. What did I do? And those will fit in every single one of those pockets. So that is your wallet. Fold it in, fold it over. Paper clip holds it together. And then you can just glue this down onto a piece of paper. Now, you could glue here, here, and at the bottom and make the back a big pocket. And then take this off and you would have 3 more pockets. And again, you could add another pocket here if you want to. These things are entirely up to you. This is just base stuff here, guys. Okay, that's it. That's my project for today. And here's our original. So, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. check out my community tab here on the YouTube channel. Also, down in the description, there's a link to, well, all my social media. You can cyber stalk me beautifully. But you can go down there, and there is a link in the description that will also take you to the Facebook group. And that is also going to have a list of all of upcoming projects and things. Join us for the Projects of 26 Challenge. You will also find a list for that pinned at the top of the Facebook page and in the community page here on YouTube. So until I see you again, stay well, my friends. I love you guys. Bye-bye.